How the narcissist makes people uncomfortable. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So uncomfortability, that's how the narcissist thrives. That's where they thrive. They thrive in uncertainty, in misdirection, in miscommunication, in misrepresentation. And the narcissist wants to make as many people uncomfortable as possible. This started when you first met them, whether you know it or not, because they were most likely leapfrogging from one person to you. Then when they took whatever they could from you, they probably did the same thing. They jettisoned that relationship and went somewhere else. Or perhaps maybe you're getting ready to create, develop, and execute your exit plan. Any way you cut it, you are about to be or are out of the narcissistic relationship, and you're getting the wisdom. You are beginning to apply the tools that are provided for you. You're beginning to understand that this is your life, it is your journey, and that you are uncomfortable in so many situations for years and years, possibly, maybe even your whole lifetime, until you're finally getting the message. But think about all the awkward moments that you had when you were with this person. Think about all the fires that you had to put out. Think of all the times you had to cover for them, or make excuses for them, or turn a blind eye, or not trust your instincts or your intuition. You definitely ignored red flags. You did not have boundaries. You didn't know that you were the beautiful, bright, shining light. You didn't realize that this person who you are considering was abusing you. You didn't know what toxicity was. You didn't know what narcissism was. You didn't know that there was a whole different mindset that you would find later down the road, which is exactly why I create videos each and every day, to pay it forward. You see, at one point, I was where you are. At one point, I was where you were. Right now, I am in a great place. It's called the mountaintop, the pinnacle of indifference, and that's where you can do whatever you want to, because time is yours. The toxicity, the weight of the relationship, and the relationship itself is all gone. You've processed things. You've learned the definitions in the glossary on the narcissistic abusive cycle, and you now know what humanity is capable of. And at one spectrum, at one end of it, you have toxicity, and then at the other end, you have empathy. And yes, we empaths do exist, and we are growing in numbers each and every day. But having said this, why the narcissist makes people uncomfortable? It's because this is what they do. This is how they feed off of people. This is how they feed off of people that they know are in the zombie-like, trance-like state, which is the narcissistic fog. This is how they feed off of people in restaurants, in moving cars, in planes, on vacations, in boardrooms, in seminars. This is how they feed off people that they don't even know. Think about this. Think about people that you hadn't met yet, that the narcissist was already manipulating, that perhaps you didn't even know existed. That's why the narcissist is crawling over dating apps, social media. That's why when the narcissist wasn't with you, you will never know where they were. You will know where they told you, if they even told you where they were, but you don't know where they really were, because the narcissist is a shapeshifter, and they change any which way the wind blows, and they wear multiple masks at any one moment, at any period of time. And you may say right now, how could they wear multiple masks at one point in time? Very simple. Say that you were with them, and you were in a car, in an Uber, or you were being driven somewhere, and they were sitting right next to you. And let's say that it was an Uber, or a taxi, somebody who's driving you. Well, now you have three people in the car, you, the narcissist, and the driver. This is assuming that there was a driver in the car, because right now there are cars without drivers, and that's the future. Whether you know it or not, get ready to embrace it. But so now what happens? Well, the narcissist is with you, and they're wearing a mask to probably ignore you because you're in a taxi. Maybe they're paying attention to the taxi driver. Probably not. They're probably screaming at that person because they took a shortcut, and the narcissist wasn't in control of what the taxi driver was doing. So they're now wearing a mask for that taxi driver, or ripping it off, whatever you want to say. And then they say they have their smartphone, or smartphones plural. They're on the smartphones getting other sources of supply, wearing different masks. Think about it. The narcissist is in a circus of abuse. They're juggling multiple relationships at any one point in time. I shared this example last month with videos, and I'll share it again. The narcissist, picture if you will, they are on a unicycle in a clown outfit with a mask. Yes, clowns wear masks. And the unicycle is one. They're not two wheels, there's one wheel. But the narcissist is juggling multiple bowling pins, which are people and relationships. Some are short term, some are medium term, some are long term. And if at any one point in time the unicycle pivots left, right, front, backwards, whatever, well, the narcissist may drop a couple bowling pins. Do they care about those bowling pins? Not for a second. They'll just pick up another couple bowling pins, which are new sources of supply, begin juggling again, and continue on their unicycle of abuse, wherever direction that unicycle is going to take them. It's why they're not loyal to anybody. It's why they don't care about anybody. It's why they will throw anybody under the bus whenever they want to. And it's why these people don't change and they don't introspect. And yes, I'm referring to the narcissist. But this is how they make people uncomfortable. Think about this. Think about, you didn't know what the trauma bond was way back when. I didn't either. How could somebody actually brainwash you, manipulate you, have you believe that they actually cared about you, maybe even believe that they loved you or were in love with you, and yet be your abuser? Well, that's what the trauma bond is to a degree. It's one little sliver of what it is. It's when you're not yourself. It's when you lose your identity, you become a shell of yourself. You're subservient to somebody who is controlling you, your emotions, your time, your energy, what you do, and your 24 hours in any one day. And that lasted as long as you were in the relationship with them, until you figured out what the toxic narcissistic abusive cycle was all about. But this is why the narcissist makes people uncomfortable, because when you're with them, you could never be yourself. So say again, let's use a different example. Say you're out of the relationship, you've healed, and you're doing great, everything's going great. But let's say you go to a lunch meeting or a luncheon or a board meeting, and again, you're free of toxicity, everything's going great, but you have to attend this one lunch meeting, let's put it that way. Maybe because you want to, or maybe because you have to because you're taking a class, or your studies tell you you have to attend it for some reason. And then what happens? Well, everything's going swimmingly. Remember, this is post-relationship when you've healed, so you now see things the way I see them. You see them crystal clearly. Well, what happens? Then maybe somebody in that luncheon begins to be a little too boisterous. They begin to raise their voice a little bit, or you see a different side of them that you hadn't seen before, and you're thinking, wait, I've known this person for 3 or 4 months and they were always acting pretty normal, but now there's 12 or 15 of us here and they're acting a little different. What is that? I don't get it. Well, there is somebody showing you exactly who they are. Now, I'm not saying that they're the narcissist. I'm saying that they need attention. They need to be the loudest voice in the room. They need accolades, or maybe they're taking credit for what you had done, or maybe they're just dragging out the luncheon because they're claiming that everyone has to stay there another 30 minutes or hour for whatever reason. You see, this is what the narcissist needs. They need control. They need to matter. They do want to live in people's mind rent-free, and they want to feel like they are superior to anybody, and I mean anybody. They also believe that they're the smartest person in the room. Many times they believe that they will never be discovered or revealed or unmasked or found out or exposed. But the narcissist, as I've shared in videos recently, they're finding that there are fewer and fewer places to hide on this planet, because with the internet and the smartphones and the way we're all connected in this day and age, and hey, nice little squirrel right there. He's about 2 feet away. Hi. Hi. That was great. As we're realizing, we're all connected. And what the narcissist is realizing is, in the earlier days, they would use the advantage of the smartphone and social media, if you will, and they could get supply easier. But we're catching up. We're actually superseding them. We're surpassing them. I'm talking about the empaths, or the people who were in the cycle and no longer are in it, because now we have wisdom. And this wisdom is allowing us to shine brighter, and it's allowing the narcissist not to have access to as many people as they had yesterday, last week, last month, last year, 10 years ago. And you may think, well, no, narcissism is everywhere. It's getting worse and worse and more rampant. You may think that. I'm not going to say if I agree or disagree. What I will say is, people like us, people that have healed or who are healing, we are growing in numbers. We're getting a bigger voice. We're getting a larger voice. We are trusting our instincts and our intuition, and we are no longer in uncomfortable situations at the hand of a toxic narcissist or anybody, because we can now read energy. We can feel energy. We trust our instincts and trust our intuition. So if we want to attend a luncheon that perhaps in the past, the people that attended it, maybe it ran a little bit too long, or somebody was being too loud or controlling, or we think there's a toxic person there, we don't have to attend it. Or we can have an exit plan for that luncheon. Maybe we only stay for 30 minutes and we leave, or who knows what we do, but we now have boundaries, and we now do what we want, when we want, and with whom we want to do it, or we do it by ourselves. This is healing. This is when you can take a class, teach a class, read a book, write a book. It's when you now understand that there are different types of people on the planet. We all look the same. We all breathe the same air. We all put the same clothes on and have access to most of the same things. However, some people are not who they claim to be. And that's a very large number of people. No, I'm not saying everybody is the narcissist. No, I'm not saying that everybody has been abused. What I am saying is if you made it this far in the video, you know what I'm talking about. And you should also know by now that I could finish your sentence in a second because I've been in the cycle and you are craving the wisdom for the answers to the questions that the narcissist would never provide, which essentially is closure. You see, you'll have to give yourself closure just like I had to, which is part of the healing path. But no longer will you be tolerating those uncomfortable moments. Think about this. No narcissist for this example, but picture an elevator. You're in an elevator, you're going up to the 100th floor of some building or 80th floor, whatever it is. Well, there's awkward moments in that elevator. I just shared this the other day. Many times people don't say things. They act like that they're busy or they're occupied, but every once in a while somebody will say something like, hey, great day, nice weather, isn't it? Or did you catch the ball game last night? Or happy holidays, or whatever. Well, that's just very easy conversation. It's not intrusive, or it's not meant to disrupt your energy. It's just to pass time. Those are awkward moments. Now flip it. You have the narcissist in that same elevator. They'll be complaining why it's taking so long, or I can't believe we had to stop at that floor. What's going on here? Why are we on X floor? We should be at the low. See, they disrupt people's energy. They make people uncomfortable. I just only gave you 2 examples, maybe 3 right there, but think about this. When you were with the narcissist, whether it was the workplace bully, your coworker, your spouse, your adult child, your friend, your bestie, your parent, whoever it is, they always made your day uncomfortable. And many times they could do it when they weren't even in the same household as you. Example, say you were a student, you were going to school, or you were at work and you had to go home, and maybe the narcissist was your parent. Well, you would be holding your breath when you got home because you didn't know if there was food on the kitchen table, or if there was food in the fridge, or if they were home, if they weren't, if they were in a good mood, if they were in a bad mood, if you did something wrong that you didn't even know you did, if they were going to blame you for something else. You could never, ever get your bearings. You were always walking on eggshells. You were holding your breath. You could cut the tension in the air with a butter knife because you couldn't be yourself, and it was awkward. It was uncomfortable. It was abusive. It was toxic. These are the things you were never supposed to figure out. What the narcissist wanted you doing was blaming yourself. They also wanted you to think that it was your fault, that you were the problem, that no one else had problems but you. But what they really did is they used you and your empathy and your love and abundance and what I call your energy and your beautiful, bright, shining light as fuel for themselves to catapult themselves from one part of their life to the next part. Now, usually I mention the narcissistic relationship as a whole. Let's say you were with the narcissist for 2 years or 20 years. Well, that's when they catapult themselves from one leg of their life to the next. But that catapulting from one leg of their life to the next could also be a minute. It could be 2 minutes. It could be 10 minutes. It could be an hour. Because the narcissist is living for the moment. You were living for the narcissist, doing whatever they wanted you to do. You were subservient to them. You were the indentured servant. You were the unpaid helper, the walking apology, the sounding board, the cook, the cleaner, the chauffeur. You were the regulator. You were the person who would tell them it would be okay. You're the person who was experiencing death by 1,000 paper cuts, and you would continue to stay in the cycle because you didn't know it was a cycle, and you were loyal to the narcissist, no matter who it was, your sibling, your parent, your romantic relationship, your friend. But you didn't know back then what you know now. And now that you know it, you need to get as far away from these people as you possibly can, as fast as you can, because these people don't change. They only deteriorate. They only get worse over time. And they all become, say it with me in 3 seconds, all these people become 3, 2, 1. Yes, they all become the aging narcissist. And the aging narcissist is not, and I repeat, not a pretty sight to see. These people are falling apart at the seams. They're trying to create more and more uncomfortability. They're trying to create more destruction. They're trying to manipulate more. They're trying to guilt people more. They are all falling apart. Every single one of these people. This is why these people, i.e. the toxic people, specifically the aging narcissists, they literally get worse over time. They cannot improve. Because if they don't have someone's energy or someone's time or someone's money or access to somebody, they fall apart. They wither away. Remember, the Wicked Witch of the West in The Wizard of Oz. When Dorothy dumped the bucket of water on her, or whoever did that, she melted. The Wicked Witch said, I'm melting, I'm melting. All was left was a cloak and a hat. Well, there's your narcissist right there. When you don't feed them energy, they don't matter. When they don't matter, you're free. When you're free, they have to go elsewhere to get what is known as supply. And then there are no more uncomfortable moments, no more uncomfortable days, no more holidays being blown up, no more birthdays not being celebrated, no more graduations not being attended, no more being gifted a 99-cent coffee mug on a milestone birthday and acting like you just got a trip to around the world for 50 grand. This is what happens. It all vanishes. It all goes away. And this is what you must do in time. If you haven't done it, you will do it, which again, I'm going to share with you. It's go no contact. Block that person, delete them, remove them, and all flying monkeys and people associated with them. If not now, when? These people are sinking ships. They're ticking time bombs. They are playing the long game. They're trying to drag it out. They're trying to let time go by and just have you forget about how toxic the relationship was. They're trying to have you forget about what they did to you in the past. This is why the longer you stay in these relationships, the more damage is done. The more damage is done, the more you have to unwind. The more you have to unwind, the more healing has to take place. And again, I am not saying if you're in a relationship for a minute or 10 years, it didn't disrupt your energy or change your perspective, because it did. This is abuse on every level possible. It is manipulation on every level possible. It is toxicity on every level possible. And this, in the past, before the internet and smartphone, this is what people on the planet grew accustomed to. They just would say, oh, that's your crazy uncle, or that's so-and-so, or that's just that person. They had a rough childhood, or they just have a little problem. Just ignore them. Or that they're from this culture or this country. That's what they do in that culture. Well, no. We're in 2026 almost. Each and every one of us are becoming more and more independent, but yet more and more connected to other people halfway around the world. And I am not referring to the narcissist, although they're everywhere. I'm referring to the collective consciousness is beginning to elevate. It's beginning to ascend. It's beginning to find purpose. Yes, yours, mine, ours. Before we knew what narcissism was, we were trapped on that hamster wheel of abuse, just going around and around and around. We didn't know what we know now. Now that we know it, there are no more uncomfortable moments, because if we see one coming or approaching, we can divert, and we can choose to not attend that luncheon or that meeting, or choose to not answer that email or that nasty text. That's why the blocking button was created. Blocking ensures your security. Blocking doesn't allow toxicity to enter your life. Blocking is one of the best things that you will ever do in removing the narcissist from your life. Yeah, it's going to sting. Yeah, it's going to hurt, but it's for your benefit. Why allow toxicity any avenue of communication to you once you know what toxicity is? And toxicity has two legs and walks just like you do. Before I close the video, I'll share this. The narcissist, number one, knows what they're doing. Number two, they had done it before they met you. Number three, they're doing it right now. Number four, they will never change. They will never, ever look inwards and introspect to be accountable. If you're still holding on to a breadcrumb of hope, thinking that they can't change, or they're going to apologize, or they're going to miraculously make up for all the abuse or whatever they did in the past, you need to think again, that's never going to happen. Whatever number I'm going to tell you this right now. We're getting closer to some major holidays and a new year in this year of 2025. You need to bring your A game. You need to not accept any hoover. You need to become unhooverable. You need to remove yourself from any uncomfortable situations, any uncomfortable environments, any uncomfortable communications, any uncomfortability at all. You were in the cycle. You were in a place you didn't even know existed. You didn't even know how you got there. You didn't even know your way out, but you made it out. That's why you're unlike anybody else before you who had encountered the narcissist. Once you're out, you owe it to yourself to maintain your boundaries, to implement them, maintain them, and to eventually go no contact. Because now you know something that very few people will ever know. This is a superpower. It's a superpower on steroids. And with this superpower comes great responsibility. You now have a sixth sense, just like the narcissist. The difference is you will use yours for goodness. The narcissist uses theirs for evil, toxicity, badness, and pitch blackness, to fill that emptiness, to fill that void within them. One more time before I close the video. Remember, you are a beautiful, bright, shining light. They used you and your energy and your beautiful, bright, shining light and everything that you possessed and still do to this day for themselves. Whenever they took whatever they could take from you and they deemed that there wasn't anything else to take from you, or you figured it out and you wised up before they could discard you, then they went off to a new source of supply. That's why the narcissist is trapped and stuck in this cycle of abuse. You were in it, but the one common denominator to the narcissist, it's not you. When you're out, you need to stay out, because these people will continue to slither their way through life. The whole point of this video is to let you know that they made your life, and they make everybody's life that they ever encounter, extremely uncomfortable. Now you need to trust your instincts and trust your intuition. So everyone, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the beautiful Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning. No matter where you are on the planet, you are not alone. I love you all, and I'll talk to you tomorrow, and I hope you like the location. This is a very unique and special location. I just found it. I love it. And now I have a new friend, the squirrel, who said hello to me twice, once here and once here. And hopefully he or she'll be back tomorrow. Couldn't catch them on camera, but maybe they were behind me. I don't know. What I will share with you is this. The uncomfortable moments in the past, you couldn't put your finger on it. You knew something was off. You knew something was wrong, but you didn't know there were definitions and terms to what you were experiencing. Now you're learning it, and now you know it, or now you're understanding these things. No longer should you be in any uncomfortable position in your entire life ever again if you can avoid it and if you know it's coming around the corner. Meaning, you have a toxic friend. Maybe they're the narcissist, maybe they're not. My hope is they're not. But you have a friend who, sometimes they perhaps don't behave properly. This is post-relationship when you've healed. Or maybe it's even right now. Can't tell you. Or both. But you have a friend who maybe isn't, as emotional. Hey, there's the squirrel again. Hi. Isn't as strong as you are, and sometimes they fly off the handle. And they're asking you to go on vacation with them for a week or two. Knowing what you know now, would you risk it and go on vacation with them? That's up to you. I will tell you what I would do. It would be a rock solid no. And you wouldn't say it that way. You'd say, no, I wish I could, but I can't do it. And I've got plans going on maybe next time, or whatever you want to do. But why put yourself in a position where it could get awkward and uncomfortable? You already did that before you knew what narcissism is or was. Now you know. There's no reason to put yourself in that position ever again, which is why you need to always trust your instincts and trust your intuition and pay attention to yourself and red flags and energy and vibration. I love you all. God bless you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye, everybody. That squirrel was